A modern midfielder, a box-to-box player. That's what you need in modern football, and City fans know this better than anyone. After a season defined by midfield mundaneness in attack and vulnerability in defence, it's evident to any observer, City desperately lacked this type of footballer. Of all the players City have been linked with or signed this summer, Tijani Reijnders, to me, is the most important, by a fair margin. And that opening quote? Not my words. That was Reijnders describing himself. With the addition of the Serie A midfielder of the season, City's midfield rebuild is nearly complete, and I truly believe the leap from last season's aged midfield to what's now being built takes us from one of the easiest midfields to play through to the most complete and dynamic in world football. Normally, I start these videos by breaking down a player's overall profile and strengths before moving on to potential weaknesses. But with Reijnders, I'm altering that structure, mainly because I disagree with most of the concerns I've seen, chief among which is his defensive ability. These are the defensive numbers of Reijnders from the past 2 Serie A seasons. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it properly, I can't roll my R, so you're just gonna have to accept I'm saying it as Reijnders from now on. They show a player who doesn't engage in a high volume of defensive actions. Indeed, his tackle numbers are rock bottom. I've seen plenty of people sharing stats like these and concluding that Reijnders is poor defensively, a liability off ball, someone who wouldn't address City's midfield issues or complement Rodri effectively. But what if I told you I lied? Because while the data on the left is from Reijnders' 24-25 Serie A season, the data on the right actually belongs to Gundogan, from the year City won the treble. Not exactly eye-catching defensive stats from City's treble-winning captain, but no one with even a shred of reason would ever contend Gundogan wasn't defensively solid that season. Even Rodri's defensive numbers over the past few years aren't especially high, because that's not how City play. This isn't me claiming Reijnders is as defensively strong as Gundogan was, but what I'm hopefully illustrating is that these numbers mean very little in isolation. Context matters. Take Milan's midfield last season. Reijnders usually partnered with Fofana, who shouldered most of the defensive workload, while Reijnders was expected to drive the team forward. The data reflects a role, not a flaw. It's far more valuable to consider how City actually defend. First and foremost, that is with the ball through control and suffocation. But their most effective defensive weapon has always been the counter-press, not raw tackle volume. With a combined midfield age last season of approximately 115, that press was non-existent. City's midfield became far too easy to play through, and Reijnders is an effective counter-presser. Last season, in a Milan side that wasn't particularly intense off the ball, his counter-pressing in the final third directly led to 4 goals. That's exactly the kind of threat City need. A player who can press high, force mistakes, win possession quickly. He also excels at intercepting passes, winning second balls, and pouncing on loose touches. All qualities City's midfield solely lacked last season. So yes, his defensive volume is low, he's not good in the air, and he's not an elite duel winner. But he doesn't need to be. He covers ground quickly, uses his tall frame well, and after watching enough of him, I'm not at all convinced he's bad defensively or would leave Rodri isolated. In fact, I believe a midfield pairing of Rodri and Reijnders is more than solid enough out of possession. And if you really wanted, perhaps for the toughest matches, you could add Nico to that midfield and push Reijnders further forwards. But for the vast majority of games, I'd consider that overkill. No, he can't do what Nico can off-ball and cover for Rodri, but between them, Nico and Reijnders cover every trait of prime Gundogan and then some. Moving to in-possession and strengths. What did City's midfield lack last season when they had the ball, and how does Reijnders improve that? Let's take something as simple as shooting. City's midfield didn't have enough goal threats or shooters. Reijnders solves that problem. Last season in Serie A, compared to other midfielders, only Player of the Year Scott McTominay took more shots than Reijnders, and only McTominay scored more goals. Most of his best chances come from crashing the box, another prime Gundogan trait City missed last season, and a key reason players like Savio and Doku thrive. It's no coincidence the ball always falls to his feet in dangerous areas in and around the box. Understanding of space and timing of runs, knowing when to jump and when to hover is paramount for this skill, and Reijnders has a natural proclivity for it. What impresses me the most about his goal scoring is how varied it is. Although naturally right-footed, his left-foot goal catalogue is seriously impressive. He can unleash powerful drives from distance, executes delicate finishes, isn't afraid to hit first-time shots, and despite his high shot volume, his average XG per shot is relatively high. That points to a player who often makes the right decisions in front of goal, rather than taking wild and hopeless efforts from distance. It's also worth noting, Reijnders has only recently become a genuine goal threat. Across his senior career for club and country, he scored 36 goals. Half of those came last season alone. That could suggest a purple patch, but more likely, judging by his own quotes, it reflects a player who's self-aware, is a great learner, and has a brilliant, driven mentality of wanting to improve and develop. When Rodri was unavailable last season, City lost passing quality in deep build-up and a reliable source of goals from midfield. Reijnders helps address both issues. He's not only a brilliant passer, but a creative all-rounder who defies labels such as pass dominant or carry dominant. He creates in multiple ways thanks to his elite technical aptitude. He has an especially clean first touch that gives him the confidence to carry the ball under all types of pressure, whether that's between the lines or in deeper zones near his own box. That makes Reijnders genuinely press resistant and a far more refined carrier than someone like Kovacic, who too often runs into traffic or carries when he should pass. In contrast, Reijnders is a great decision maker and rarely makes the wrong one. He's not quite as explosive over long distances as Núñez when it comes to eating up ground, but he's not far off. He still drives forwards at great speeds and is such a dynamic dribbler. Combine that with his vision and intelligence, and it's no surprise he ranks near the top 4 progressive carries into the final third and penalty area, and sits in the top 2% of midfielders for shot-creating actions following a take-on. But as I mentioned earlier, Reijnders isn't just a carrier. He's a multifaceted threat, and his passing is equally as impressive, particularly his ability to split opposition lines. Over the past year, he ranks in the top 12% of midfielders for volume of through balls, and the top 7% for passes into the penalty area. He's brave when it comes to finding his teammates in the pockets, and has metronomic qualities vital to deeper build-up and dictating play generally, whether it's a straightforward pass and move combination, switching the play, or picking out late runs. This quality from Reijnders will no doubt ease the creative burden on Rodri in those deeper areas, and considering how few touches he had at Milan compared to how often he'll see the ball at City, I expect those already impressive numbers to rise further. What makes Reijnders even more valuable is the versatility of both his chance creation and his positional play. While he wouldn't work as a pure defensive midfielder off-ball, he can absolutely play-make in deeper zones. He can be used as a classic box-to-box midfielder, because that's what he is. But his control, vision, and attacking instincts are of such quality that he could also comfortably play higher up the pitch. Not as a pure 10, but definitely at the top of a box midfield. Part of what allows him to adapt to so many different roles is the quality of his weak foot. He might not be as two-footed as one of City's other summer signings, but he's shown he can shoot, dribble, and pass off either side with ease. So while he spent most of his Milan minutes as a left-sided central player, he's just as comfortable starting on the right or drifting there naturally. That's a priceless trait to have, as practically, this means his game doesn't suffer or vastly change based on which side he's on, unlike Marmoush, who is ineffective off the right, or players like Foden or Savio, whose playstyle shifts significantly depending on what side they're on. Indeed, I've noticed some of Reijnders' best moments come from that right side, rather than the left. And crucially, Reijnders' vertical threat, ability to break lines and play decisive forward passes is of major benefit to Haaland. Can you even imagine the difference in service and threat between the midfield 3 of Bernardo, Gundogan and Kovacic to something like this? Something I'm desperate to see. A box midfield comprised of Rodri, Reijnders, Foden and Cherki. Ridiculous technical quality, elite chance creation, genuine goal threat, solidity off ball, and tenacity in the counter-press. Reijnders can slot in next to Rodri in a 2. I don't think it matters which side. He can partner Nico when Rodri needs a rest. He could push up to partner one of the more advanced midfielders. The flexibility he offers is incredible and is a dream scenario for Guardiola. Overall, I'm genuinely thrilled about this signing. Having now properly scouted him, I can't quite believe City have signed Reijnders, never mind for the laughably low fee they paid Milan. I appreciate that Cherki is the sexier name. Perhaps he's the player most City fans will be the most excited by. But this deal This is the most transformative one. His physical attributes, technical traits, mental drive, and overall quality make him a plug-and-play option for Guardiola's City. Reijnders is already, comfortably, one of the best midfielders in Europe, and was able to showcase that in a Milan side which didn't necessarily play to his strengths. He's only going to get better. Just think about that. City have signed one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's not even peaked. I want to end this video by leaving you with this data radar chart of Reijnders from the past 2 seasons. This type of chart isn't gospel and is often misused, but when used well, it can be a helpful tool when attempting to identify and compare similar players. And it speaks to what type of midfielder Reijnders is. A classic box-to-box midfielder. But what if I told you I lied again? Because whilst the orange segment of this radar chart does showcase Reijnders from last season, the red segment, which is remarkably similar, is not another Reijnders season. That's Gundogan from the treble season. Therein lies the logic as to why I consider this the most crucial signing of City's window. While Nico has replaced Gundogan's defensive positional utility, Reijnders replaces all other aspects of City's treble-winning captain, from chance creation to goal threat to timing of runs to press resistance. There's a reason why when City were first linked to Reijnders, I and many other City fans noted the similarities between him and a younger version of Gundogan. It's not lazy analysis to suggest they're alike. It is in fact uncanny how deep those similarities go. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed, because over the next few weeks, I'll be releasing breakdowns of Shirky, Aït-Nouri, and any other players City bring in this summer. Massive thanks to my hardcore channel members Tony, Spartacus, Silver Splits the Blue, Ethan Larios, and Austin King. Your support means the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.